Welcome to New Independence Network. Brett Hightower back once again. So, the newest updates. How has everyone been? I hope you've been fine. So much to talk about. So much has been happening, and I'm very excited to dive into most of it. Some of it infuriates me, but we'll break this down into a couple of shorter podcasts so you can listen while you work, listen while you work out, and you're not listening for 3 hours straight, because I can speak for 3 hours straight. So, Jussie Smollett. I love it. I love it. I hate it, but I love it. It's frightening, but it's entertaining at the same time. Let me explain. So, I'm sure you've been keeping track. I mean, the news, the media is abuzz. Not the mainstream, not really the mainstream media per se. Some of them are actually revealing the fraud that was Jussie Smollett's hate crime attack, but most of them aren't. In fact, some are doubling down, and then they're gnashing their teeth, wondering, why? How could that happen? Let me explain something. Let's go down to some background, a real quick summary once again. Jussie Smollett, part-time actor on Empire, always listed as a homosexual actor or LGBT actor. It doesn't matter what he is. They also like to list him as a black actor. Not that it matters. He's an actor. Fine. Black and LGBT or homosexual are labels that the left like to use because, to the left, everything is division. You have to divide. You label people by their brand, not by their character. Plain and simple. Well, labeling by character, Jussie Smollett has none. And let's continue. So Jussie Smollett, Empire actor, was in Chicago one night, walking down the street, went to get a Subway sandwich, and it was 2 o'clock in the morning. Subway sandwich at 2 o'clock in the morning in Chicago. Sub-zero temperatures, -8, -10 degrees, and out of nowhere, two, as he called them, white rednecks, quote unquote, white rednecks wearing MAGA caps, red MAGA caps, and face masks, so you could not see their faces, yet he knew they were white, attacked him, beat him up, poured bleach on his face, tied a noose around his neck, or a slack rope as the police later described it, and called him some derogatory terms for homosexuals, and said, "This is MAGA country," and then ran off. Well, Mr. Smollett, so distraught by this, did not seek out the police. He decided to go home. And while he was home for 42 minutes before he actually called the police, he went home and then called the police and sat there for 42 minutes after he decided to finally call the police. And when the police showed up, he still had the noose around, or slack rope, around his neck when the police showed up. Now, like I said before, see, I all of a sudden the flags went up. The flags went up right away when we heard this. We talked about it then. If he was beaten up, it sounded too contrived. First off, I've never heard anybody say this is MAGA country. We know that. But then to sit there and be wearing... And first off, who uses nooses now anyway? This is the thing. The noose, this is where the flags go up. The noose is a symbol of the old South, the old Democrat South. See, the Democrats were the ones who loved to lynch black people. The Democrats are the ones who founded the KKK. The Democrats were the ones who supported segregation. Well, That's their symbol, the rope, the noose. They have now appropriated this symbol. It is now a symbol of racism, and they're holding on to the past, which is what Democrats do. They're holding on to symbols of the past and trying to bring them into the future, into the forefront, as if people nowadays, because I mean, every day I hear about another black person being lynched. I don't know about you. I hear about it every day. Oh, wait, what? Oh, we don't hear about that? Oh, when's the last time a black person has been lynched simply for being a black person? Let me think. Yeah, don't even recall. Civil rights era, maybe? I don't know. Pre-civil rights era? I don't know. But the same civil rights era that the Democrats voted against, opposed. The same Voting Rights Act, 1965 Voting Rights Act that the Democrats voted against. All racists. That's what Democrats are. So they love to appropriate the symbol of the noose because they know it's going to trigger passion and emotion from the black community. And they love to use the black community to their advantage. If we can get black people upset, the Democrats say, if we can get black people upset, then we can get them to really vote against Republicans and vote for us. Then what happens after they vote for us? Oh, we just ignore them. I mean, they're going to vote again. They're going to vote again anyway because the next time an election comes around, we're going to gin up something that's race-based, and we're going to get them to vote for us again. The problem is they don't understand. People are waking up to this. You see, these tactics are dying because they're old school tactics. And Smollett, I don't know. See, this is where you have to think. I don't even know if Smollett was put up to this or not, but we'll get to that. I'll dig into this deeper. So, Smollett reported it to the police. So then the police go on a mad search. Well, first of all, let's step back one. The media and the celebrities lose their minds. Automatically, the racist Trump supporters should be taken to task. Some actors and politicians, we should riot in the streets and burn it down, and we have to fight against this. This is a hate crime. Persecute them to the fullest extent of the law, or prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law. And it was constant. I mean, actor after politician. Kamala Harris was one. Cory Booker, who destroyed Newark, New Jersey. All these people lost. Nancy Pelosi, we're with Jussie. Oh, support for Jussie. It's a horrible thing. And then all these actors, white and black actors, were coming out and, oh, poor Jussie. And even Brie Larson, the sweet little Brie Larson, Captain Marvel, the feminazi Brie Larson. Oh, we have an update about Brie Larson. I'll talk about her either this show, which I'm trying to dedicate to Jussie Smollett, or the next show, because there's a whole lot of good stuff about Brie Larson that needs to be discussed. So, but even Brie Larson, and just as recently as 6 days ago, when the fraud was starting to reveal itself, and this was starting to be unraveled, she retweeted a tweet from Smollett's sister, who said, let me find that real quick on Twitter. See, she retweeted something from Smollett's sister in support of Smollett. Brie Larson. There we go. Brie Larson said, the retweet was this. Journey Smollett, I think it's his sister. She says, "You are not weak." This is on February 14th, Valentine's Day. "You are not weak. You are brave. One of the bravest I know. Speaking your truth, a person living at the intersection of multiple identities unapologetically takes courage. I love you." Now, she posted that in response to his interview with Good Morning America, talking about he has gay pride, and he waited to call the police because, as a gay man, he did not want to be seen as weak. Whoa. Hold on a second. I just read that for the first time. Jussie Smollett says, this is quoted from Good Morning America, he waited to call police because as a gay man, he did not want to be seen as weak. Who sees gay people as weak? I don't know who's gay and who's not gay. We don't know. There are probably NFL players that are gay. Some have come out as gay. They're not weak. Why would you think that a gay person is weak? I wouldn't think that. Most people wouldn't think that. But a Democrat and a gay man automatically categorizes himself as being thought of as weak? But that's why he didn't call the police? Huh? Maybe he didn't call the police because he needed to get his story straight before the police showed up. That's why he didn't call the police. Give me a break. Give me a break. I'm a big dude, and I'll call the police in the first sign of trouble because I need to protect my family, my house, myself. That's what the police are there for. But then again, we're also talking about, it's funny, we're talking about a black man in the United States, a black Democrat, who would be reluctant to call the police because, well, they don't trust the police. They hate the police. Oh, unless they want to use the police to do their bidding so they can file a fake charge, waste police resources. Then they run to the police and say, let's use you as a pawn in my charade and hope, hey, maybe the cops will bring someone to justice. But who are they going to bring to justice when there was nobody? Unless a false person, a scapegoat, a pawn, was singled out and wrongly accused, which has happened before, and we'll get to that. So here comes Smollett making that comment. His sister responds, "You're not weak, you're brave," and Brie Larson retweets it. The thing is, Brie Larson, see, I'm going on the Brie Larson tangent. I don't want to get to that yet, but I kind of have to get to it because it's all interwoven. Brie Larson still has it on her Twitter feed. It's still there, which means that Brie Larson still believes it. But Brett, she's saying she's supporting the fact that she's not, her brother's not weak or brave, and he's brave, and she's supporting him, and that's just her recognizing that she's. No. That is Brie Larson perpetuating a false story. Brie Larson is an activist. Brie Larson is an extremist, feminist Nazi, or a femifascist. Personally, I prefer feminazi because it's just part of the vernacular now. But she is. She is a militant feminist, and it's destroying the Marvel. It's going to destroy the Marvel comic book universe, or cinematic universe. But again, I got to stay on topic. So we're going to stick with Smollett. So celebrity after celebrity was backing Smollett. You had Reverend Al Sharpton, who, of course, if there was a race car, a race ambulance, he would be chasing it. That is Reverend Al Sharpton. Any way to pawn black Americans out of their hard-earned money by perpetuating fear, Al Sharpton is going to do it. And he's there too. Oh, this is terrible, and we need to seek justice for Jussie Smollett. Al, always opening his mouth, right? So, then these facts start to come out. The police pour over 1,000 hours of security camera footage from all over the area. And they find nothing. No evidence of an attack. No evidence of white people walking around. I mean, who in their right mind would walk around at downtown Chicago at 2 a.m. if you're white? I mean, it's dangerous enough as it is if you're black. I mean, Democrats like to ignore the crime in Chicago, but apparently it's a high-end part of Chicago, so I'm sure it's safe. But the fact of the matter is that they found nothing. However, at one point, they did find 2 figures walking with Smollett, who looked like male figures. They left camera. They came back in a minute later, or he came back in a minute later and was wearing the rope around his neck. Of course, from there he went home. But he was also on the phone, allegedly, with his manager at the time of the attack. And his manager came out and said, yes, I heard it. Yes, I heard the attack. It's on the phone. So the police said, well, okay, cool. Let's see the phone records because the video showed nothing of proof. So let's hear the phone records. And they said, no, we can't give you our phone records. Well, we need them. So they subpoenaed the phone records. So they give them the phone records, but they black out part of the phone records. So they don't let them see everything. And now it's getting suspicious. Well, why won't you let me see the full conversation? What are we missing here? So then, like a day later, 2 days later, the police, and this unravels fast, because here's the deal. Police are pretty pissed off at being used by Democrats. I know they are. I mean, you have police that are being assassinated is a bigger term, but it really is. It's a politically motivated death. So yes, assassination applies. There are police who are being assassinated almost daily by Black Americans. They are sitting in their cars writing up reports, and people are running up to them and shooting them in the head. Now, haven't heard about it lately, but it wasn't too long ago. Lately, I mean the last couple of days. But it wasn't too long ago. I mean, how about the young man who went out and was killed the day after Christmas after being with his family? He's dead, shot by black men. How about that? An actual legal immigrant who came over here and became a citizen, became a police officer, serving his country, putting his life on the line, is killed simply because he's a cop. Of course, we all know that the assassination of police was supported and promoted by Barack Obama. Oh, Brett, how could you say that? How could you say that Barack Obama supported it? Barack Obama started it. Let me explain to you why or how. We'll touch into that and then we'll come back. When Barack Obama when the police had taken the Harvard professor and had dared to ask him for his ID because a neighbor called 911 and saw a black man trying to break into a house. There's a man trying to break into a house. The police show up. They said, can I see your ID to prove that you live here, sir? And the guy starts shouting racism. He's a racist professor anyway. He's one of those African studies, Black American studies professors, which basically is a race-baiting course. So he loses his mind. He gets all crazy. It blows up. And the first thing Barack Obama did. Now, this is significant because this is the catalyst, the very first steps toward Ferguson, toward Baltimore, and all the rest, and then all the other cop shootings. Barack Obama said, quote, the police acted stupidly without a shred of proof. The President of the United States comes out and says, the police acted stupidly. How could you say that? They responded to a 911 call. They asked a person for his ID. If I was trying to break into my house and someone didn't know who I was, they would call 911, hopefully, and the police would show up. And they say, do you live here? I said, oh yeah, I'm sorry, here's my ID. The cops would say, okay, is there a problem? No, I just locked myself out. I'm trying to get in. Okay, cool. That's all it is. But any excuse to blame the police, the Democrats will grasp onto it. And Barack Obama grasped onto it. And he said, police acted stupidly. Okay, police acted stupidly. Well, guess what? That plants the seed. See, and the black militant, the Black Lives Matter people. See, blacks are always being treated unfairly by the police. Always being treated unfairly. They don't like us. They're racist. They're black cops too, guys. It doesn't matter. Oh, they're just Uncle Toms. They're just working for the man. They're dancing for the man. Trust me, this is what they thought. So when the catalyst was laid out, when the button was pushed by Barack Obama, when Ferguson happened, when the gentle giant, Michael, whatever his name was, when the gentle giant robbed the store, a convenience store, roughed up the store owner, and then was pulled over by the police down the street for failing to obey traffic laws, walking in the street when told to get out of the street, and charged a cop and was shot, hands up, don't shoot was created. And what did Barack Obama say? He did not say, let's wait for the facts to come out and find out what's going on. No. He sicked the FBI on it and said, This isn't just. Oh God! And he sent the FBI on three different. They had three different autopsies were performed on the gentle giant, Michael, whatever his name was. Three different autopsies. Two by the feds. Two. One by the DOJ, one by the FBI, and which is part of the DOJ, and another one by an independent source. And all three came to the same conclusion. He charged the officer, and the officer defended himself. But there were riots in Ferguson. But before that, Barack Obama, I totally forgot. Trayvon Martin. Well, we're in Black History Month now, and they're just this anniversary to celebrate Trayvon. Trayvon Martin, who was walking through a neighborhood in the rain in a hoodie, a neighborhood where he didn't live, saying he was going to go visit his friend, on his cell phone allegedly with his girlfriend. George Zimmerman was overzealous. He was performing neighborhood watch duties. He saw this guy trying to keep his neighborhood safe, called the police and say, hey, this guy's walking through our neighborhood. I don't know who he is. That's the same story where NBC edited his call to make it sound like he was going after the kid because of his race when he wasn't. And all the photos they showed, then he followed Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin, instead of, this is the point I bring up a lot. Trayvon Martin, instead of running to if his friends live there, why didn't you just run to your friend's house or walk quickly there if you're being followed? If you're being followed, run quickly or walk to a friend's house. Or get off the phone with your girlfriend, say, honey, I got to call the cops. Some guys follow me and it's suspicious. But he doesn't do that. What does he do? He hides in a bush, waits for Zimmerman, jumps out and ambushes him, and then tries to beat up the smaller Zimmerman. So now he's got Zimmerman in a ground and pound, basically kneeling over his body, punching on him. Zimmerman grabs into his belt, wherever he had his gun, pulls it out, and shoots Martin in the chest, killing him to protect himself. Well, there's a stand your ground law in Florida, and Zimmerman followed the rules. Well, all of a sudden, what did Barack Obama say? The great unifier in chief over there. He said, if I had a son, he would look like Trayvon Martin. Not a shred of proof, not a shred of investigation done. This is what Obama did. Stoked the racist fires and kept pushing the ball toward racial injustice, bringing us back to pre-civil rights era. He set back race relations 50 years intentionally. On purpose he did this because he knew that the only way to keep Democrats in power is to keep blacks voting Democrat. He couldn't let them think that everything was fine. We've elected by popular and electoral college vote twice a black president. But we can't let people believe that racism's defeated in this country. So we have to get everybody all the black people to think it's still racist in America. And he pushed it and perpetuated it. Things were much better. The 80s, things were okay. 90s, things were okay. You had a couple little murmurs of people who loved to look for racism everywhere, but it wasn't bad. But then Barack Obama came on and boom, it was inflamed. Well, here we are with jumping to conclusions, making false assertions without the facts. The Democrats do it all the time. They did it with Kavanaugh. And they're trying to ruin people's lives. There was no one's life to ruin on the Smollett attack right away. What they're really trying to do is not ruin one person's life. They were trying to ruin all Trump supporters' lives, including President Trump. They were going to try to find a way to pin this on him, to continue to paint the picture that he's a racist, which he's not. Because that's all they have. Notice, Donald Trump was never a racist. In 40 years of business, he was never a racist. 40 years in the public light, 40 years on TV, 40 years product after product, appearance after appearance, with Mike Tyson, with Don King, with celebrities. Never a racist. Until he becomes a Republican, runs for president. And automatically, he's a racist, misogynist. xenophobe, automatically, overnight, magically, because Democrats love to use black Americans for the vote. I can't say it enough, but it's a fact. Let your friends listen to this. It's just simple logic. You remove emotion and you go, well, maybe I am being used. Did you ever have a time where you're doing stuff, you have a friend who never says a word to you, an associate that you kind of hang out with, you're cordial, and they never bother with you, they don't want to go to lunch with you, they don't want to hang out with you, but then when they need something, they come to you and say, hey man, can I get your help with something? It's like, you never talk to me, but now all of a sudden you need help? So where's that coming from? And that's what the Democrats are doing with blacks. That's what they do. They're like, okay, hey, we're friends. Yeah, we're good. We're all good, but I'm not going to help you out at all. Oh, but I need your vote now. So can I help you? Can you help me out? Oh, yeah, sure. And these people are stupid enough. Some of these people are dumb enough, blinded, to say, yeah, we'll vote for you again. You haven't helped us for 50 years, but we'll help you. We'll vote for you again. Yeah, you created the KKK, but we'll keep you in office. That's no problem. This is what it's like. And they're trying to use black Americans, and they're trying to use the gay community. I mean, this is almost a trifecta for Smollett. A Democrat, black, and gay. Whoa! Gold mine. I can get them with homophobic and racist and anti-democrat. That's perfect. Well, a couple of days after, back to the case, a couple of days after, they break in the door of some Jamaican gentleman, or Nigerian gentleman, Nigerian gentleman. Kamala Harris is Jamaican. Nigerian gentleman. Break into their door. They have photos of this online, and they have a list of items that they seized from the apartment, which included red hats, black ski masks, rope, bleach. Interestingly enough. And they end up arresting or bringing those gentlemen in for questioning. Well, what they didn't expect, or what Smollett didn't expect, is that those Nigerians were going to sing like birds. They said, whoa, wait a minute. We're just citizens here. We're extras on the set of Empire, and we're friends with Smollett, and he hired us to do the job. He paid us $4,000. He paid for the bleach and the rope and the hats and the ski masks, and there's security camera footage. Now, you can see it online, of these gentlemen in the store buying ski masks and rope. I mean, not so much rope, but they're buying ski masks and other things. I mean, would you... If you're a store owner, I think they had rope in the video as well. I really do, but I forget. But if you're a store owner and you have people come to your counter, black, white, or whoever, and they'll have ski masks and rope, wouldn't you go, wait a minute, why are you buying ski masks and rope? And this is kind of odd to be purchasing all those items together. Wouldn't that send a flag up to you? Anybody? You think? I mean, maybe it's commonplace for people to... It is Chicago, after all. People, there's so much crime in Chicago, they probably don't even think twice about it anymore. But they have video of those guys doing it. So now they were paid $4,000 by Smollett, it comes out. Allegedly. Yeah, they were. And then they went back and we were reviewing some of the interviews that Smollett said. This is where it gets to the scary part. They were listening to some interviews before, and in one of the interviews, it was I think it was either a media interview or an interview with the police. I don't think he's really talked to the police yet, so I think it was a media interview. He said, when I was on the street, I remember looking up. Oh, this is what he said he told the police in his first interview. I remember looking up and seeing a camera, a security camera. And I said, oh, thank God there's a camera there. It's recording what's happening to me. Well, it turns out that that camera that he was looking at wasn't facing him. It was one of those little those half-arc dome cameras that are everywhere. And the camera wasn't looking at him. It was pointing north, a different direction. So he was stupid because he thought he was being smart. But, okay, we staged the attack right here. That camera's going to witness this. It's going to record it. And you guys are covered. You got ski masks. You're going to be wearing the red MAGA hats over it. And you're going to look like Trump supporters beating me up. So they're going to get video of this. Well, he didn't realize that the camera wasn't pointing in that direction. So it wasn't recorded. But he was trying. So they busted him because, like, look, he's even knew there was a camera there. Like, he planned it out. He knew where the camera was pointing. If I'm getting beaten up, I'm not saying, where's the video camera? If I'm being attacked, I'm in defend myself mode. Much bigger dude, but I'm still in defend myself mode. Most people would be. But but for Jussie Smollett, he was like, where's the camera? Where is it? Because he's an actor. Actors go, where's the camera? What camera should I be looking at? Oh, see this camera right there? Make sure you're getting this camera because I'm getting beat up. I don't want to defend myself. You'll beat the hell out of me, guys, because just film this. There you go. Got good angle? Is my light good? All right, we're good. Thank you. This is what Smollett did. So it was busted. He was busted. And this is the scary part. This is actually the frightening part. Imagine, if you will, if that camera actually recorded that setup beating. Imagine if the only image that they got was two big men, totally covered, faces obscured, with black ski masks, with red Make America Great Again hats, beating up a gay black man on the street of Chicago and putting a noose around his neck. The media would be playing that on an endless loop every day, constantly, 24/7. We would see it over and over and over again. And that video, which is what Smollett was counting on, that video could have made, because there was no individual person that could have been arrested, that could have led to a mob mentality in Chicago and in some hot spots in this country. I mean, look at what happened with Rodney King. Look at what happened with that. The riot really started after the police with Rodney King were found not guilty. But in this case, there were no police to blame. The police didn't do this. It was two Trump supporters. What would that mean? Well, we don't know who it was, so in the mind of the Democrats and the race baiters / Democrats, it would be all Trump supporters. They were generic Trump supporters that were supposed to be portrayed in that video. So every single person who supported Donald Trump, no matter who you are, especially if you're white, were now targets. Think about that. That's the frightening part. And the media, after it comes out that this is a fraud, because it's a fraud, we know it's a fraud. We knew that before, but now that it's been proven that the cops have unfolded this whole thing, the media are playing stupid. How did we get fooled? We didn't know. How could he have fooled us? Guys, you knew. You knew because you wanted it to be true. You may not have known. They may not have known that Smollett actually set this up. But the fact that they took no effort into using investigative journalism and saying, wait a second, he was allegedly attacked. Let's look into it and find out the facts. They rushed to judgment because they wanted it to be true. The media, the propaganda, left-wing media wanted it to be Trump supporters. They wanted it to be a racist, homophobic attack. That's what they wanted. They needed it to be that because they can't beat Trump. They can't stop us. They tried everything. They tried the Access Hollywood tape. It didn't work. They're trying Russian collusion. That's failed. They're trying everything. And I have a whole nother, the whole Russian collusion thing, I have a whole nother podcast about that coming up too. That's frightening. Truly frightening. And we'll get to that. But they tried everything to stop Donald Trump, to stop his supporters. They've been violent. They've attacked us. They've sent out mobs. The Antifa are, if you know your history, the SA or the brown shirts or Hitler's brown shirts or Mussolini's black shirts. What did the brown shirts and black shirts do? They would intimidate people, beat them up if they disagreed with the party line. They would go after enemies and rough them up so they would fall in line. They were gangs, mobs, thugs, and bullies. Terrorists, so to speak. That's what Antifa is or wants to be. The difference between Antifa and the actual brown shirts and black shirts is Antifa are a bunch of linguini-spined candy asses. That's just what they are. They're little weak, sunflower seed, soy milk drinking pansies who could barely lift a pillow, but they like pretend like they're tough. That they just don't have it. But they're paid by Soros. Some self-admitted, paid by Soros to do this. They make $30,000 a year to be an antagonist. Believe me, it's the truth. It's the God's honest truth. But the media they've tried everything to stop Trump, and they want this. They wanted it so badly to be true. They were salivating. That's why they jumped all over it. Without allegedly, that was attacked by people, MAGA, and they went crazy. You had the lost Sanderson sister, Joy Behar, that old crone. It's terrible, this is criminal. Whoopi Goldberg opens her mouth, Bill Maher opens his mouth, the same suspects jumping to conclusion, and what they're doing is perpetuating hate, perpetuating a lie, perpetuating fear. Because that's all they have. They have no policy ideas. They have no success in their records and their administrations. None. Nothing they can do to help the country out except for divide the country and stir up fear and cause conflict. That's what they thrive on. And this is what we have. So now, this story has been perpetuated. And the media are playing like we didn't know. How could we be fooled? You can be fooled because you wanted to be fooled. Just like you wanted to believe the poll results that Hillary Clinton was going to win in a landslide. You were praying it was true. Let's report it like it's true, even though we don't know it's true, because we want it to be true. That's what the media does. And they're all complicit in this. Smollett created the fake hate crime, paid people to do it, used the police. The media perpetuated the story. Hollywood perpetuated the story. Politicians perpetuated the false narrative, the fraud, the hoax, without proof. Now, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, who should have not said anything, but of course, if there's an opportunity to race bait, he's going to jump on it. He actually came out when it's revealed it was a hoax, and he said, look, this guy needs to be punished if it was a hoax. Because the fact is it's a hoax. And Smollett's punished. Smollett has been arrested. Drudge Report today, there's that. CBS News Chicago, or NBC News Chicago, CBS Chicago. Empire actor Jussie Smollett turned himself in to Chicago police early Thursday morning, hours after he was charged with disorderly conduct for allegedly staging a racist and homophobic attack against himself last month in Streeterville. Smollett turned himself in at the Central District Police Station at 18th and State Streets about 5 a.m. Police said he made no statement to police. He was arrested, and hopefully, he will be put in jail. The reason they believe is, and we said this, I said this in my last podcast, he wanted to get more screen time. He was going to be written off of Empire, the show. So he wanted more screen time, wanted to stay on the show, so he was hoping this will put him in the limelight. I think it was a twofold. I think it was help my career, but it wasn't as simple as that. I believe it was more, we got to make sure that Trump is taken down. We got to make sure people believe that Trump supporters are racist. And it could have, if that video was out, think about it, folks. It could have started a serious firestorm. The people who are on, no Siri, we're fine. The people who are on pins and needles already, the people who are volatile, sitting on a keg of gasoline, just waiting to explode on the left, those people who just every night obsess themselves and every day lose their minds over the fact that Donald Trump is president. They can't handle it. They're volatile. All you need is that little push. And this could have been that push. This could have been, if, thank God, it wasn't allowed to be recorded. Because even without the truth, there would have been so much violence and upheaval that could have occurred with the release of the video that it wouldn't have mattered if it was fake, because the damage would already be done. But that's why they perpetuate news so quickly. They perpetuate negative news about Trump and about Trump supporters so quickly because they figure, you know what? As soon as we can get it out there, the more exposure we can get, there's people who are going to see it, but they're not going to realize that it's not true, even when the truth comes out. Because then they'll think, oh, it's a cover-up, or, because believe me, that's coming. I mean, first off, look at who's looked at it. Ellen Page, that actress who became a lesbian. You know, the little Juno, that cute little Juno who is now a lesbian. Magically became a lesbian. Just became one. You know, I thought it was in your DNA, though. I thought it wasn't a choice. She wasn't a lesbian before, but she became one. Anyway, Juno, Ellen Page, who has apparently a new show somewhere on one of the internet providers or something. She came out and had an interview. She was talking about Smollett and how horrible it was. A long interview. It had 18 million views before the fraud was revealed. That means 18 million people, 18 million unique views. 18 million people saw that video. Some of them may have believed it. Most of them probably did. Because for some reason people believe what celebrities say, especially the ones on the left, because to them celebrities walk on water. And that story is out there. So when the real truth comes out, are they going to have a video that says it's a fraud and 18 million people, those same 18 million people are going to watch that? Absolutely not. Will Ellen Page go out there and apologize and say, hey guys, look, I was wrong? I know, because the damage is done. It's like, all right, you know what? It's not true, but let's just let it go. The people don't want to hurt them. They believe me. And believe me, there are people out there, and it's going to happen. It's coming. They're going to say, someone somewhere is going to say, and trust me, mark my words, someone is that extreme and crazy to say it. They're going to say that this attack was set up to damage Smollett. He was conned into doing this by somebody, and they're going to try to pin that also on Donald Trump. Oh, someone convinced him that he could do this. It was a setup. Smollett was a pawn. He didn't really do this. Personally, I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't somebody who was in politics, because Chicago, they're twisted and sick anyway. Some of the most dishonest politicians out there. There's so much corruption in Chicago, my God. How they elected Rahm Emanuel. How corrupt do you think that city is? And look what happened in that city. But I wouldn't be surprised if somebody got to Smollett and said, hey, look, guys, we need to do something. This can help your career, but also can hurt Trump. Let's put it together. Smollett could have been smart enough to do this himself, or devious enough to do it. But that's why I think it was more him, because if it was somebody higher up, unless it was some low-level Politico type, in Chicago who doesn't have a clue, because most of your politicians are pretty stupid, by the way. They really are. They're very unintelligent. They speak well. They represent themselves fine, but they're dumber than a box of rocks. But that's why I don't think, unless it was a low-level politician type, this would have been set up a lot better. They would have a lot more coordination. They would have covered their tracks more. You wouldn't have had video footage filming the two Nigerian men buying ski masks and receipts for the hats from a beauty salon. Or rope that was traced to Smollett that was purchased from Ace Hardware. Yeah, Smollett paid for that himself, his own rope. Hung himself with his own, what is that? Give yourself enough rope to hang you with? Way to go, Jussie. Way to go. So, now Smollett has been taken into custody by the police and is going to be questioned. But remember, this was all part of a much bigger plan. It's a small-scale thing, but also keep this in mind. This leaves the impression for the left to then say, you see, this didn't happen to Smollett, but it could happen. It just shows you that something like this could happen to black men and gay people in this country. It could. And it could be done by Trump supporters because they are that crazy. See, you believed it. You believed it was them. No, we didn't, guys. You did. We didn't. Because we know what Trump supporters are like. There are always crazies in every group. There are some extremes in every group. On our Facebook page, New Independence, there's some crazies on there. They get a little off the rails, and we have to kind of sit them down a bit. But for the most part, your Trump supporters are just proud Americans who just want this country to be great. And everyone's in the playing field, man. Everyone can be whatever they want to be. But something else that this attack did, potentially, is now consider this a dry run for other extremists on the left. Okay, so these are the mistakes that Jussie Smollett did. He let the cops film the guys buying the stuff, so he didn't have his tracks covered there. And they were able to trace the purchase of the Ace Hardware to Ace Hardware for the rope. And he didn't have his story straight. And he said he was on the phone, but he wouldn't turn over his records. And he didn't know where the camera was pointing when the attack happened. And next time we do it right. And we get the footage. The problem is this. Next time you do it, we're not going to believe it because you're crying wolf. And this is really, honestly damaging. This is something no one ever talks about. This is damaging actual violent assaults that really occur. Like, you don't hear about hate crimes happening ever. I just don't hear about it. I have heard more about 3 black kids beating up a disabled white kid saying F Trump. Remember that little, I think that was also in Chicago. Surprise, surprise. I hear more about that type of crime, more about Antifa attacking Trump supporters than I hear true stories about, because those are all true, than I hear about true stories about Trump supporters actually attacking anybody. All that stuff is made up so far. Anything that's race-based, for the most part, is made up. Or they try to say, oh, it's racist. Well, there are racists out there, guys. It does happen. But it's not as often as you'd like it to be. You love to believe that it happens all the time because that's the fantasy world you live in. You want the world where, and the Democrats want this, they want black people to be left on edge. They want them to think that the world is a racist place, and they're trying to rewrite their own racist past. Democrats were the ones that were chasing down blacks, lynching them, beating them up, segregating them, burning crosses on their lawns. And they're trying to erase that and say, Republicans are doing it now. Republicans are doing it. Trump supporters are doing it. No, we're not. The Trump hat's the new KKK hood. No, it's not. You like to think it is, but it's not. Because you're trying to rewrite history. You're trying to erase your past and project it onto somebody else. You can't. You own it. That's yours. That's in your scrapbook. Big as day, front page. Democrats are the racist party. But don't be surprised because someone's going to try to do a copycat crime. And just like with the accusations against Kavanaugh or the accusations against some of these other actors and celebrities during the Me Too witch hunt. Some were valid, some were not. Or the Duke Lacrosse rape case, or the Virginia Tech rape story, false rape story made up in Rolling Stone. All these false stories about rape and assault, that diminishes the actual true stories, the true accounts of rape and assault that have happened. So now more and more people are saying it's a fake. Fewer and fewer people are going to believe the actual real deal. Oh, okay, she's faking again. Another fake story. Oh, okay, another Jussie Smollett. I was the first one to call it. Now they're picking it up. Now Dinesh D'Souza's talking about it and some others. In my podcast, I was the first one to make the correlation between Jussie Smollett and Tawana Brawley. Tawana Brawley, raped by white men. Al Sharpton paraded her around. Total thing was a fake. Here we go. And we're doing it. Jussie Smollett and Tawana Brawley all fall in the same category. He is just what Tawana was about 20 years ago. Jussie is today's Tawana Brawley, basically. Except for he didn't get as far with Jussie because we were able to figure out that it was false because there's a lot of video evidence now. Back then, it was just a word of mouth. It was just take my word for it. Well, it's a different world now, thank God. We were able to figure out the truth. And that helps stave off some of the violence that could occur. But someone's going to try it again. They're going to try it again. And it's just going to diminish when the real attacks happen. It's going to make them less, taken seriously less. Or taken less seriously. There you go. All right, so that's where we stand. Jussie Smollett has been apprehended by the police. Going to be questioned probably. More will come out over time, but the whole thing unraveled. But that's our conversation for today. For this update, coming back with some information on Brie Larson, the feminazi, and trying to talk a little bit more about the falling apart collusion case. Speaking of fake crimes and fake accusations and frauds by Democrats, that'll all be coming up soon. So stay tuned. Come back. Check out some more of our podcasts. This is Brett Hightower. Take care. Have yourself a wonderful day.